So with a new build that I did this year, I'm just super excited. My passion is helping other people get into cosplay because I wish I had done it 20 years ago.
Absolutely. All right.
Am I still a baby here? I'm only 28.
Yeah, you seem baby.
I can almost be your mom.
So with that, let's open the floor to you guys. What? Hush. Hush. There we go. Okay. I got it. What questions do you guys have? This could be about competing, because we're all competitive cosplayers, about judging, about how to make cosplay, how to get into cosplay, and anything cosplay related, anything convention related. It is it's up to you guys. What do you got? Yes.
So what do you do to keep cardboard structurally intact? Because I hoard that. Anyway, I think this would be great.
So I use a lot of masking tape, tacky glue. Why is my phone buzzing now? Tacky glue, masking tape, and super glue. Like right here with this is literally just tacky glue and masking tape.
Okay. How do you think plastic dip, like what we use on EVA foam, helps to hold the cardboard? Would you try that?
I am not sure.
It's a little, it may be a little bit more expensive. The plastic dip is almost like an aerosol spray paint that you can coat certain materials. You can use it on 3D prints, might be able to use it on cardboard as long as you don't saturate it, but used a lot on the EVA foam, so the foam armor type things, because it gives a smooth, workable finish.
I don't know that that would help with structure, but it definitely would help with priming for sure, because it is used primarily for priming or EVA. I would say layering is usually the big thing when it comes to cardboard.
Definitely layer.
You can put wire inside as well, that where you like make a groove to put any kind of wire or PVC or anything in there to try and help with that as well.
Wooden dowel.
Wooden dowels, yeah, absolutely. Things that are real cheap. And if you're like, I can't get a hold of tacky glue for whatever reason, you can always do paper mache with water and flour. Yeah. Accessibility is a big thing, especially in the world of fast fashion cosplay right now. So yeah. What else you guys got? Manny. Yes.
Sorry, I don't have a question, so I kind of Googled some.
You're good?
What are your go-to stores for cosplay materials?
Rest in peace, Joanna. There is Sarah Spaceman has a really great video on where she gets a lot of her fabrics from. If you were more of the sewist kind of guy, I have bought from plenty of different places that she has recommended, and they've been fabulous. Tandy Leather Factory is fantastic for leather. I'm sure you would probably. Do you have any other ideas for leather working?
Tandy and Weaver leather. It'll depend on your location.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, where I'm at, and I live in Cairo, Georgia, so very close to Tallahassee, Florida. I think the closest leather store is Dothan, Alabama. I actually sourced this year's build out of the Tandy leather in Birmingham. But depending on your materials, leather you want to put your hands on. I learned that the first year. I made armor out of saddle leather because I didn't realize there were different weights.
Yeah.
Don't do what I did, kids. Hobby Lobby, sometimes if that's an option, you can get stuff. I source almost everything I have to get from Amazon because I do live very much out in a rural area and short of Walmart. I don't even have a grocery store from you.
Yeah.
So.
I would say also, oh shoot, what was I gonna say? Michael's is taking on Joanne's fabrics. So like Ayaman is moving all of her cosplay fabrics to Michael's as well. And her fabrics are fantastic. I used to work at Joanne, so like when we got the cosplay powers and I was ecstatic. So, yeah, do you have any ideas that haven't been mentioned?
My cover wasn't come to my job because my boss was gonna throw them away, and I just go, hey, I want to use these. He's like, cool, thank you. A lot of my paint comes from Walmart, Michaels, Super Glue, Tacky Glue, Walmart. I want to try and get into leather. I just gotta figure out how I'm gonna do that with cardboard. So I got these two bags.
I was gonna say sources.
Cause I was like, I wanted, cause my boss not like I
missed the steampunk. Somehow I started at steampunk and went all the way into the White Rabbit for Malice. So just do it. You won't regret it.
I don't have to have my past self, the same thing, like just do it, have fun, be creative, and no matter if like someone tries to put you down, at the end of the day, it's your work. Like you can do it. You don't have to try to please somebody.
I would say, don't be so hard on yourself. Cosplay has been such a way for me to get all kinds of different opportunities that I didn't think were possible. Even just being on this stage today would be a dream come true for little me. But just not to be so hard on yourself, because I remember my first cosplay being like, oh, it's not that good because I'm brand new, and it's, you know, it's all these different things, trying to compare to other people, and if I just enjoyed the ride a little more, I think that would have made a big difference too.
I think age takes a perspective. Getting into it at 43 versus 25. We develop very, very differently as far as, you know, our thoughts and feelings about what other people may think and what other people may judge. And that's one of the things, if you want to get into a contest, one of the things I would, you know, consider is there is a level of judgment there, and that can be kind of a stress or a strain. And that, again, is where make sure that you're working with yourself to be happy with what you've got. And if you compete in a contest and you don't walk away with a prize, that's okay, because the prize is you showed up. You did a cosplay, and I bet it was amazing.
Cause I know like when I was at MomoCon, when I was at the cosplay contest on Saturday, even the MC for it, he should have told everybody, it doesn't matter if you didn't win, you guys basically competed against like 400 people and you were the top 100 to walk. And I was just thinking like, wow, I did not realize you guys got that many people to sign up.
And everyone in that room is screaming for you when you get up on that stage. They may not know who you are or who you're cosplaying or anything, but like there's something about, I got to show off the hard work that I put in, and everyone cheered me on, whether I won or lost anyway. And I think there's something about that.
It doesn't have to be perfect.
Any other questions? Hello, we're doing Cosplay Roundtable.
Welcome.
So,
Does anybody have any questions about?
I did this out of curiosity. How much cost do you end up having to put in to end up getting, you know, a cosplay that this looks reasonable? I really don't have much of a deal at all.
I mean, I guess it depends on what you mean by like what a good cosplay looks like. Cause like this one, I made, I like pieced together the wig to get the color, and I did the top. The rest of it is purchased. So, or something I have. So, if this looks nice, you know, the wig was, all the wig stuff, you know, was maybe $40. The material, was maybe 20. So, you know, if you've got stuff in your closet that you can put together with it and be able to make something like really, really nice, but on the cheap end, you know, you're maybe looking at $50. ThunderCon last year, our best in show winner spent $5 on a giant Furby that she made out of recycled material. And she looked amazing. Obviously, she was best in show. So I spent upwards of almost $1,000 on a competitive piece. I spent as little as $50. I think it really depends. What about you guys in your experience? Especially with cardboard, the accessibility of cardboard is.
So I know for myself,
$2,000. And then you do have to replenish the leather, but there are tips and tricks for that. Like if you go to Tandy or you go to Weaver Leather and you buy a full half of a cow, I can get several pieces out of a whole half of a cow or a double shoulder, and they have different grades of leather, so I can save money on my leather but still get a whole bunch of it. And that, I think I spent for a double shoulder, which is, you know, big, and a half a cow, which is twice that approximately, around $250 at Tandy just for my bills for this year, and I still have a pile of that left. But when you're working with materials like that, like I have to get a lot of custom tools. You can come by my booth, you'll see some of the stuff that I've got. I have the marble slab, rivets. I have certain edging materials, different types of razor knives. It's a very complicated labor of love. But when you're working with some of those more expensive materials, you have to look at the cost as well. That's what you're going to do. Sorry, I'm making a little break.
No.
I went to encourage and not scare people.
Yeah.
And what was your favorite cosplay, favorite artist, favorite cosplay?
I didn't catch the last part.
Oh,
Your favorite
what's-
cosplay or
Or elaborate?
most elaborate? I have my top two. They're kind of tied for first place. I have either Devil Homura from Madoka Magica. I have 7-foot wingspan, a whole bunch of rhinestones, and lights and ostrich feathers in my skirt. I hand-tied the ostrich feathers. Versus Princess Sakura from Tsubasa Reservoir Chronicles, which is a whole ball gown. I had to do. I made a petticoat. I made everything with it. I made a giant staff. I made all the jewelry that came with it. I had to make a lot of pieces that had to match because we were doing big group cosplay for that one. So I had to make a lot of little pieces that matched to the boys in our group so that we all had this cohesive look. So that was really difficult. It took me months to do both of those, and I'm really tied between which one is my favorite. I don't know so much.
My favorite is also, it's a tie, it's either Sauron or the one I'm working on now, which is gonna be Yablo. It's a spirit born
was not a lot of, back in my day, there just wasn't a lot of different, like, cosplay tutorials. Melinda Chan, who works with Art of Wigs, had some, like, really, I think they still got them up on the Art of YouTube, had some, like, really brainy looking, wig tutorials that just, they're rough. They're not that great. They're not that great, which is sad because Melinda Chan is, like, amazing. Yeah, it's not my forte. Definitely more of a sewer than a wig stylist for sure. I think it's an important skill though, like, and the people that like really like Cabot Crunchies and Melinda Chan that do the amazing like really heavily styled wigs and like in awe. So, any thoughts?
Majority of my costumes, they don't wear wigs. That's why I went more armor based. I am not good with wigs.
I would rather work with saddle leather. Wigs are not my favorite. I love wearing wigs. I love having the different ones. Like pretty much every character I have has a different wig. This year was my first year like truly styling one this year. Let's be real. It was like $50 grand. I mean, I put some motor oil in it and made it look like you see it. Win. That actually was a little bit fun. So if you are very interested in wigs, my friend Megan Road Raccoon is at my table. She's the queen of wigs. She helped. So Geralt was incorporating my own hair into my wig because I naturally have very gray hair. So in order to get rid of where you can see the seam on the front of the costume wig, but there's a reason that wig makers make all of that money.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I would much rather, I'd rather style leather, new tools than style leather wig. Anybody? Thoughts, ideas, anything anybody want to share maybe?
Yeah, what about your cosplays? This is an open forum along with Q&A, so.
This is my first one I've properly built myself. Like, I've done a couple that mostly have been clothes layering. This is the first one I've actually made.
Are you gonna be in the costume contest? Yes. I love it.
Well done. Well,
Yes. Welcome to the world. Will this be your first competition then? Oh my gosh, yes. You're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. Hi guys.
the last one was my first one here, and everything was absolutely amazing. You're in good.
For those of you who have joined us a little bit later, we are doing a cosplay Q&A/open forum. We are your judges for the cosplay contest this year. So if you have questions about any aspect of cosplay or convention life, some of us have been doing this for over 10 years. Meaning me, I've been doing this for over 10 years. So if you have questions about Squirtle and War Turtle from Pokemon, and we did like a samurai and yukata version of them. And we pulled out our Squirtle Squad glasses at the very end. We came out with the glasses hidden, came to our final pose, pulled them out, and everybody just lost their minds, right? So surprise your audience. They love that. Do not surprise your staff, because when I cosplayed Princess Sakura, she faints a lot in the series, and I thought, well, maybe I'll pretend to faint on stage. Don't do that. Or if you're gonna do that, let somebody know that you are perfectly safe. Because otherwise, people rush the stage for you and stop the music, and then you awkwardly have to finish your walk on without any music because it's all awkward and everybody's like, oh, wow, way to worry everybody. That's why you don't surprise your staff.
But the fun thing about being in cosplay is depending on how you're dressed up, when people are kind of recognize you when you take it off.
Right? We're shapeshifters, yes.
Yes, you are.
When you meet staff later, you can be like, you don't know.
Never happened.
Alright, what you got? Oh, it was, what do you got about cosplay contests? Anything about cosplay contests? Whether it's a fun story, or like suggestions, things like that.
If you lose, don't go on social media and complain about it. Please don't. I've seen people do that. I'm like, we all lose, we all win. Just honestly, my thing is, if you do lose, or even if you win, just go to your judge like, hey, what's something that I can prove, or what's something you want to see me do? Because when I did Song for the first time, and these two cosplayers, their name Pants and Snips, they should have told me layering. They want to see me do layering with all my armor. Ever since then, I'm always making sure I have layers. And also they told me about spraying my costume, like after I get done painting, make sure I do like a cover on it, a protective cover, so just in case it doesn't chip. Because at first time when I first started doing cardboard, I was using duct tape. And painting over duct tape was not good. The paint kept chipping, it wouldn't stay, I didn't think about spraying. And when I told them that, they both told me use masking tape because that's actually easier to paint over and make sure I can protect the cover over it. And then the layering is another thing. And ever since then, I've been doing that, and I'm surprising more judges with cardboard. I surprised the judges at MomoCon because they were all like, this is cardboard, and even my boss kind of weapon. Like 6 layers of cardboard, and they're like, this is cardboard? I'm like, no, I just said it's cardboard. I was like, first off, my typing is cardboard. And then I sometimes don't even get a chance to even explain my house because it just kind of like, oh my gosh, it's so cool and stuff. I have 3 minutes, I gotta say something. But definitely for sure, like, if you don't win, don't even go to the winner and be like, oh, I should have won, you shouldn't have won. Don't do that.
they have little plug-in cell phone fans that you plug into your charging outlet, and you can blow cold air on yourself.
Oh.
So, yeah, so like when you're sometimes like going back and forth from the parking lot, it can be really hot. So if you're trying to keep everything pristine, because the scars will actually start peeling up if you sweat, having something like that. So it's something you can, because that one I can just slide in my pocket. It's that small, and I just plug it in.
Nice.
Very, very helpful for keeping the sweat down.
Why?
We're glistening.
Yeah.
Not sweating, we're glistening. That's it.
Especially when you're in full armor cardboard and you start sweating.
That's not good. Do you
Maybe.
coat the inside?
No. I didn't think no one
It's like, now I am.
Now I am.
Now I am.
Prepare for everything.
That's one reason why I said I kind of dislike the Monster Hunter is because, well, let's see, the hotel we had when I went to MomoCon, we didn't have the Omni Hotel, but our hotel was like just like a 10-minute walk, but it's like a 7-minute walk because Atlanta, you don't like you. I feel like they're trying to be like New York, but they're not. But all that walking back and forth to the cons, to the hotel, whatever, and then I started sweating, and my armor, because it's cardboard, it would start trying to slide, and it's like, no, stay up, no, stay up. That's one thing with cardboard I would say is a con for me is the sweat. It's basically you have to start sweating. Try to take it off because you can kind of overheat since.
Take breaks.
Yeah, definitely. Because at Momo we had someone that did a full halo. I legit got scared because they had to sit down. They know they were gonna